All right, will you introduce yourself to listeners?
Yeah, what's going on, y'all? My name's Alex. I sing in a band called Young Culture. Yeah, thanks for checking it out.
All right, and then you guys have your self-titled debut album coming out tomorrow or 16th, so it'll be out by the time you guys are listening to this. What are you doing other than your pop-up to celebrate the album release?
Well, pretty much it's crazy just because everything like that we've done has been up to this point, and we got a few other like little tricks up our sleeve, but that's the big one right now. Being that we can't do any shows or anything, which is like the traditional way of promoting a record would be to tour on it and whatnot. So yeah, we're doing this pop-up shop. We put out a couple music videos, and more so than anything, like just trying to get the album in people's ears, and just get it heard, because it's our first album, and it's like definitely the thing I'm the most proud of.
Yeah, definitely. I have to imagine you have that kind of Christmas Eve feeling with it dropping tonight at midnight.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, it's definitely like a whole lot of excitement, but like more anxiety than Christmas Eve too. Just because it's release day. These things are always kind of a little bit stressful for me, but more so fun most of the time.
Yeah, it'll be great. If it's half as good as the singles, it's going to be awesome. What are you hoping that people take away from this album?
Like if anything, this is just the beginning, and I think that with this one, we finally honed in and found our sound. And it's a self-titled album. It's called Young Culture. The band is Young Culture, and that's just what the theme really is. It's just based around youth, and it's like pretty much everything that we've done up to this point, and like it's us kind of finally figuring it out, and this is like a cohesive sound. So one thing I like want people to take away is somebody's like, oh, like, who's Young Culture? Like, you should listen to this album. It's 10 songs, 30 minutes. It's not that long, but it's definitely what Young Culture is, and that's what I kind of want people to take away from it.
That's awesome. And then you guys list a really broad group of just genre influences, everything from rock and pop punk, which you can definitely hear, but to some influences like country and hardcore. Is that what you guys all listen to, or do different people listen to different things?
Yeah, totally. So the band is me, and then Gabe and Troy, and like I'd say like all three of us have a very similar like taste in music, and it's pretty eclectic, as you can tell. But like I'd say like Troy is more into like hardcore and country than I'd say like me and Gabe are, but we still like love that kind of stuff. But those kind of influences on the album shine in the songs that are like more Troy dominant, and I'd say that like Gabe has more like hip hop influence, and so those kinds of things shine through more on like the Gabe tracks and whatnot. And I'm a big pop head, so it's like anything that's like lyrically poppy, which has been most of the Young Culture stuff, is definitely probably for me. So yeah, it's like as much as we all like different things, I think that we all can appreciate it and want to just not put ourselves in a box when it comes to creating.
Yeah, I think it's really fresh to hear a blend of those styles and to hear those influences come through in a new way. What are some of the specific hardcore country and rap artists that influence you guys, or that you guys find yourself playing the most?
Yeah, if I have to like pick an artist from like each genre, I would go with like probably like Dan and Shay for the country stuff, because like they're an artist, really cool guys that have just like, I don't know, I'm just really like, I think that they make really catchy music. I haven't always been like a country fan, but like they kind of put me onto it. I'm like, all right, like it can be cool. And as far as hardcore goes, I mean, like growing up in the pop punk scene, we like had always kind of been like around and seen it, and it's a very like niche thing. And that's probably, I wouldn't say there's a ton of hardcore influence on it, but like you can tell that like we've been there before. So just a lot of like the local bands that kind of made up where we came from. A lot of them were hardcore and whatnot. So I guess there's a lot for that, but hip hop is like, for probably like the last like 6-7 years of my life was like the main genre of music that I was into. So there's so much of that like, I try to incorporate in some way or another without being like tacky. But I guess like what's like a rapper, like I don't know, I really enjoy ASAP Rocky because he's you know a New York rapper, and you know I just really like his style, you know, like I just like his flow and whatnot. So I don't know, but I can't really say that I execute what he does, but definitely draw influence from it.
That's all right. It's all right. That's fair. So then I want to talk a little bit on your relationship with Gabe. You've obviously known him a super long time. And digging through some of the YouTube archives, I found some Bring Home Ohio videos. Will you talk a little bit about how you guys met and started playing music together?
Yeah, totally. And you know, that's you know, the beginning of young culture there too. Well, I met Gabe uh at the beginning of 6th grade, and he didn't play music, but he was a skater, and like I was like, dude, this kid is so cool, because you know I went to a school where like I was the only kid that like played music or listened to the type of music that I do, and like so I met him, we became best friends instantly. And I had this like band, as much of a band as you can have at 11 years old, and like it was called Bring Home Ohio, and I was like, yo, like we're gonna play the talent show and we need a bassist, like will you like fill in on bass? He's like, dude, I don't know how to play bass. I was like, dude, it's so easy, like look. And so got him to do that, and yeah, he did the talent show with us. And then from there, like, you know, we'd been best friends ever since. And I guess that kind of formulated into what would become Young Culture, you know, after Bring Home Ohio inevitably fizzled out. So yeah, it's been a journey ever since, and I couldn't really imagine myself doing music without him, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you remember what that song was that you guys played at the talent show?
Yeah, it was a song that I wrote called Heartbreak, and it went, please don't break my heavy heart, my heavy heart. Please. It was so bad.
That's got a
And
pretty catchy hook though for like 11.
I will say it was decent for 11 years old. I thought it was cool.
Awesome. So it sounds like Young Culture's really been a labor of love with friends and people close to you. I see you guys work a lot with Danny DeRusso, your photographer. How did you guys meet him and kind of build that relationship?
Yeah, so the first time that we met him, uh, Danny's like an honorary fourth member. You know, he's like he does all our photos and media, and he's with us every step of the way, pretty much. But we met him for the first time when Bring Home Ohio, in 2013, I believe, actually played a band called State Champs. They put out their first album called The Finer Things, and Bring Home Ohio played that show. We were the opening slot on that. Uh, and Danny was there, and we met him there, and didn't necessarily become close with him then and there, but throughout the years, you know, and just like common friends, and taking him out on tour and stuff, like he's just our best friend in the world. And yeah, that's pretty much how that came to be.
That's a pretty good chance meeting, especially because that band State Champs became pretty big.
Yeah, I know, right? It's crazy, like thinking back, you know, it's like, wow, we got to play that you know, iconic release show. It's really cool, really really great feeling.
You guys are from Albany, right?
Yeah, yeah.
How's the scene up in upstate New York and in New York in general coming up as a kid?
I think, you know, like I mentioned earlier, like, you know, where I grew up, like I was definitely like an outlier. Like I couldn't tell you another kid in my grade, you know, that listened to the type of music that I did besides Gabe, you know. And I couldn't like really tell you any other like bands besides like one or two others that like were in my high school. So, you know, it was really like this weird thing, like, cause it made so much sense to like me, but then, you know, when I would go to school, like nobody really understood like, you know, what I was trying to do, or like what we were about and whatnot. But then, you know, we would go and like we would play shows, which Gabe would like set up and book somehow, you know, and it was just like this whole new world. And like obviously everybody was older than us because we were like what, like 13 or like 15, like doing these, and it was like a world that I like had no idea existed. I was like, I only had ever seen this like on the internet. And so like finding a community in Albany of musicians and stuff was definitely like life changing and eye opening to me. But that being said, it still wasn't, that big. I go to, places like Chicago or, like Indianapolis, and the kids are so, passionate about this type of music and about the arts and stuff. And not to say that it's not that way, but it definitely could be more. A lot of people here are into rap and hip hop though, and there's some pretty poppin' like rap artists that come from here. So that's not too bad.
I think that's something that people who are into alternative rock, pop punk all across the country can relate to, is kind of being an outlier in your high school and through grade school and having to find that niche group outside of school.
Yeah, absolutely. And like that's something that I realized like because like growing up I was always like, yeah, like is this weird? Like am I weird? And then you find a group of people who have common interests and like who like the same things, and it's just like, one of those moments where you're like, yeah, this is where I belong. And especially like growing up being Asian American, and just be growing up in like a predominantly like white school and community and whatnot. It was definitely like weird and tough for me to try to find like my place. But I feel like in this scene it's a lot of it's like the island of misfit toys in a way, in the best way possible, and it's like the only place I'd want to be. It's
Yeah,
great.
absolutely. I have so many places I want to go with this, but first off, is Gina your mom?
Yeah, do you know
Okay,
Gina?
she has the greatest, most supportive Twitter I have ever seen.
Yo, I hope she'll watch this interview later and she'll be super excited that you said that, because yeah, she's the best, and just such a wonderful woman. So shout out Gina one time.
Yeah, what kind of role did she have in supporting you to really pursue music at a serious professional level? Because obviously she has, I don't know if she always has, but a great level of support behind you.
Yeah, her and my dad Mike have always been like, like they're just like the most supportive people. They're my heroes, and I don't think a lot of people can say that about their parents. And so I feel very fortunate like to have parents that from a young age have always supported me. Neither of them are really like musicians, and so like I guess you could say it didn't really come from them. My dad is like 6'6". He was like a star baseball player, and he got three kids that were so bad at sports and only played music. So like I kind of saw it from my brothers, and my parents never told me like that this isn't what I should be doing. They just always said like, do what you feel like. I went to 1 year community college, and it was just like not for me. I'm not good at that stuff, and they've always been so supportive, and that's something that I don't think a lot of kids have the opportunity to say about their parents. And I never take that for granted, and so supportive and really cool about me wanting to pursue this. But they also equally believe that I can do it too, which is obviously really helpful.
Yeah, that's really rad. Shout out Gina and Mike.
Shout out one time.
So then you're talking about obviously the scene kind of being the island of misfit toys where everyone can find their place and find some level of love and acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
Did you find some of that community in Warped Tour? I could absolutely hear Young Culture being a Warped Tour band and seeing you guys be in that scene, which was really a foundational part of growing up for me and many kids in this scene.
Yeah, of course. I mean, like, I can't even explain to you how much of a bummer it was, like, finding out that I probably will never play, like, Warped Tour, because, like, it's such a staple, and it's, like, one of those things that, like, it's like a milestone, and it was, like, that was a huge one for me. It was like, okay, like, when we play Warped Tour, then I'll, like, know that, we made it. But, rest in peace, Warped Tour. But what an amazing thing that it did for the scene. And like we were saying before, like just for a community of people that felt like they didn't belong. And it was just like every year that, you go to Warped Tour and that you just walk around, it's like, wow, these are people like that are like me. And I'm not having to like, code switch or anything to, be somebody different. Like, is a place where I can 100% be myself. And it's just such a special thing. And hopefully in the coming years, with things like Sat Summerfest and other things like that, it will still just create a place in a community for people like me,
Yeah, absolutely. I think that there's definitely a really good new wave of bands coming out, young culture kind of leading that, and really a need in the community that will hopefully be filled here soon.
Yeah, I hope so.
So you mentioned you have some siblings. Are you the youngest?
Yeah, I am the youngest. Yep, I got two older brothers, and they both, I guess I could say like they're the reasons why I started getting into music. I remember my oldest brother, like he would have like CDs around the house, and like like notably like Fall Out Boy and like Taking Back Sunday and like just bands in that kind of realm of music, and I would like steal them and I would listen to them, and that's what got me like into the things. And like Fall Out Boy was like the first band for me that I was like, whoa, what is this? And so yeah, and just watching them, they both played in bands and played music, and they were my role models, and it was like that's what I wanted to be. And so it's great that I had people like that.
Yeah, that absolutely stole my question and knocked it out of the park because I feel like everyone that's into pop punk rock finds someone older that kind of introduces them to it and shows them what's up and what's good.
Yeah, that typically seems to be the way, right?
Yeah. Back to the album a little bit. The art looks incredible. Danny absolutely went off on that. But will you talk a little bit about the inspiration and the choice behind the art?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, the first thing to know is it's minimalistic, which is, totally like something that I love. I'm in every sense, I consider myself like a minimalist. I don't like a lot going on, and there's absolutely a theme behind it. So like on the cover, we had our friend Bella, shout out Bella one time, who, she's a ballerina, and that's what we wanted. We wanted like a ballerina for the cover of it. So we went to the Upper West Side, New York, and to a dance studio that she dances at, and we took some photos of her, and she was, gracious enough to let us, and she's the branding of the whole entire artwork. And the meaning behind it is, when the album comes out, it'll be out by now, but the last track is a song called Lay Low, and in the chorus, there's a lyric that says, watch you dance around like a fragile ballerina. And that was like the imagery I wanted to create for this album. That's what I wanted the artwork to be. That's what I wanted the whole entire vibe to be, because the album is young culture, and I think that like just ballerinas are so like I don't know if this is the right word to use, but just like fragile and just like very like beautiful, and I think that youth is just like that, it's like it's so delicate, and that's why I really wanted it to be that, and I don't know if that really made a ton of sense, but fragile ballerina, and that's what Bella is on our artwork, and that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, no, that absolutely makes sense. That's awesome.
Heck yeah.
So we've obviously been in quarantine or some level of quarantine for months now. Have there been any creative outlets you've found to kind of drive that energy into while we've all been kind of shut away?
Geez, it's hard to say because yeah, it's been tough to find those things, it's been tough to find inspiration because a lot of everyday life has been so mundane, and I think that so much of it has just been spent scrolling through the internet, unfortunately, which is like my least favorite thing in the world, but it's just been spent, doing things like that, and not being able to get out a lot and communicate and meet new people and whatnot. And it's been tough finding creative outlets, but in that same breath, it's been such a time of creativity because I'm not feeling like forced to do anything. So I feel like that's when the best songs and the best creativity come, are when it's just natural and I'm just going for it. So yeah.
You seem like a really extroverted person. Do you pull a lot of your inspiration and energy off of other people?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't really know if this is me, but I had a friend explain to me one time uh what an empath is, and just like how that works, with energy and feeling other people's energy. And ever since he explained what that was to me, which I couldn't explain in the best way, but it really felt like something like that resonated with me. And it's like, yeah, I definitely feel like I gravitate a lot of my energy off of other people and like, you know, the moods that they're in and what they're saying, you know, and what they're doing. You know, like even doing interviews and stuff, like, you know, you seem like a very passionate person, and it's like you're making me want to like talk about things. So it's like, it's cool how that kind of stuff works, you know.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
And do you find that Gabe and Troy are kind of like that, or do they balance out your energy a little bit? What's the band dynamic like in that regard?
Oh man, I mean, like they balance me out in the best ways possible. Like they're absolutely, you know, my balance, but they're just also like me too. Like they are just such people persons, and you know, like they inspire me so much every day. Like it's like not only are they my bandmates, but they're like, you know, I look up to them so much, and they're like my best friends. And yeah, it's great. I mean, I learn something new from them every day, and they're just, yeah, they're great people to be around.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
What's one track off the album that you guys didn't get to put out as a single that you think's absolutely gonna be a sleeper hit?
Ooh, um, track 3. It's a song called "Anywhere I Go, I'm Taking You With Me." Um, I think it like lately it's been my favorite one, and you know, it's not necessarily like a single. It's a little too slow to be a single, but I think it's just one of like my favorite ones, and just one of like a song that I'm really proud of writing.
Yeah, slow jams definitely have their place.
Absolutely.
All right, I'm gonna hit you with some rapid fire questions now. Are you ready?
Let's go. Yes.
Okay, is water wet?
Uh, yeah.
Okay, is a hot dog a taco?
Yeah.
Okay, who's your favorite member of One Direction?
Ooh, Harry.
Okay, and then you live in New York City, so what's the best kind of bagel and what do you put on your bagel?
Ooh, best kind of bagel is an everything bagel, bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich.
Okay, right answer.
Yes, no other answer.
All right, and then what's your favorite form of potato?
Oh, the French fry.
Nice, nice. All right, and then I've just got to know for me, what's the best deli in New York City?
Best deli in New York City. Oh no. I'm not a big deli guy, but I know that I have one right downstairs from my apartment in the Upper East Side. And it's really good. So I don't know. I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay,
I'm a failure in that one.
it's okay. All right, and then I have everyone that comes on the show pick 3 songs. One of them can be a Young Culture song, and then 2 of them are just songs that mean something to you. It can be as silly or as serious as you want.
Ooh, okay. I'm gonna go with, for my first song, um, "Sugar We're Going Down" by Fall Out Boy, because I arguably think that is like the first song that got me into music, like at the age of like 6 or 7, and I like heard it, and I was like, this is very special. So there's one. Second one is "Blood Thin," which is track 1 off of our new Young Culture album, and that's because it's a song that just defines Young Culture, and it defines like just my life up until this point, and just the things that I have taken away from youth and growing up. And it's just more so like a poem, and I don't know, it means a lot to me. So third one, hmm "Biking" by Frank Ocean, because it just showed me that songwriting doesn't always have to take itself so seriously, because it's just a fucking really good song about bicycles. So yeah, those are my 3.
There we go. There's that eclectic taste.
You already know what it is.
All right, and then last thing I've got to ask is, are there any Easter eggs in the album that fans should be looking out for as they take their second, third, and fourth listens through?
Yeah, there's a ton of them. They're littered all throughout them, and I don't know. Figure them out for yourself. I'll probably like leak them in tweets and stuff, because I just can't keep my mouth shut about secrets. But yeah, you'll hear them for yourself. There's a lot of really little cool things that we put in there. It's 10 songs. It's 30 minutes long. You know, it's not anything extravagantly, you know, insane. But it just definitely defines young culture, and there's so many little cool things to find in it, I think. So yeah.
All right, awesome. Where can people find you and the band at?
You can find me on social media at Alexander Magnan, across the board. You can find Young Culture at Young Culture NY, all across the board also. So check it out. Our new album will be out by this time, and just thanks for tuning in. Shout out my cousin Paul one time. He goes to Purdue, so that's the
Nice,
homie.
boiler up.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.